Went to Sam's Club and got a whole beef short loin.
Oh, yeah.
Black Angus choice short loin.
Column of beef.
I have had a hankering for bistecca alla fiorentina since last year when I went to Florence. That's just a big old porterhouse steak is all that is. But man, you see it everywhere in Florence. They're all cut to order. So you see these whole short loin sections. This is a picture of one I had last summer. Pretty good. They're all served huge. The smallest size you can get is a 1 kilogram steak. So that's 2.2 pounds. Most are bigger. They're typically cooked blue. This one was cooked blue. That's not my favorite way to eat steak, but you know, when in Florence. So I'm gonna cut a couple big honkin' steaks off this short loin. Believe it or not, I have no butchering skills whatsoever. You're probably not supposed to point the knife at your stomach like that, and I'll do it again here in a second. But, you know, right there, like that looks like I shouldn't be doing it. I don't know. But I bought a bone saw on Amazon for $30, and I went to town. And I'll tell you what, sawing through that spine was not super easy. I edited out a bunch of minutes of me sawing and struggling to get through there. But I did it. There I am, stabbed myself in the stomach again. But I managed to cut 3 pretty nice steaks off this short loin from the fat tenderloin side, right? So the short loin, one side is the tenderloin or fillet side, the other side is the strip side. And the porterhouse is apparently you need to have so much tenderloin or it's T-bone. You have a little bit of tenderloin, it's a T-bone. You have a lot, it's porterhouse or some sort of measurement or something. But like I said, I'm not a butcher. So I got 3 big honking, yeah, here I am wiping my brow, I'm sweating, cutting through that bone. So I got 3 big porterhouses and I got 4.5 or 5 T-bones. I was really happy with this meat. I mean, nice marbling for choice in particular, tasted amazing. Really nice piece of meat, big piece of meat. So I vacuum packed them and froze most of them except 2, which I cooked a couple days later. And I seasoned them with just salt and pepper and left them uncovered in the fridge overnight to dry out. There they are, beautiful. And here they are in the fridge. Yep. And so I started drinking then the next day. I started with a Southern Tier Harvest IPA, pretty delicious. Got some potatoes and some herbs to go with those. Watching the Phillies back when they were really, really good. They're still good, but they're coming out of a bad slump. So I reverse seared these big steaks. I cooked them in the smoker, low and slow, in the official smoker of Fish Beer Barbecue, the Meadow Creek TS70P. I also started drinking some 10-year Russell's bourbon that my wife Jess and her sister Kristen brought back from a trip to Kentucky. They had delicious bourbon. And then, oh, look at this. I'm on to the porter already. This is Edmund's Oast Leather Jacket Porter. These guys are from South Carolina. I really struggled to find porters in my town, which really sucks. I love porter, but it's a really dying style. But thanks to Brazil Craft Beer Bar in Jamestown, they had this in cans, and they also had Deschutes Black Butte Porter on draft, which is awesome. So I got a crowler of that. So big shout out to Brazil. While I was there, I also enjoyed a slow pour pills. They have a side pour or side pull faucet for their Pilsner, so they can pour a perfect huge foam top to your Pilsner. Awesome, highly recommended. Check out Brazil if you're ever in beautiful Jamestown, New York. So here I am putting them on the smoker. I'd say these things weigh 5 pounds. I didn't weigh them. They're big honking pieces of meat. So I'm gonna cook them low and slow, get them up to an internal temp a little below where I want to finish them, and then I'm gonna sear them, right? I'm gonna reverse sear. So you don't sear first, you sear last. Those little tinfoil packets are potatoes. So here's the kind of fire I was running to keep it low and slow. That was a pretty dramatic shot of the official smoker of Fish Beer Barbecue, Meadow Creek TS70P. And that's the kind of fire I'm burning to keep it low. I'm burning half splits to keep it running really nice and slow. I tried to keep it around 225. It took about an hour and a half at 225 to get to my target temp, which was 110. I was shooting for 110 Fahrenheit internal in the deepest part of the muscle without touching the bone. And you'll see later when I'm showing the steak off, right tight to the bone. The tenderloin in particular was quite rare. I mean, it's borderline blue, but closer to the edge and more throughout the strip for whatever reason, more evenly pink, red pink, wall to wall, which is kind of the goal of this reverse sear method. So there's a look at them cooking. They're starting to render some juices at this point. Looking pretty good. There I am drinking my Russell's Reserve while tending to the smoker. Delicious bourbon. Highly recommend, if you can't make it, that your wife and sister-in-law go on a mountain biking trip to Kentucky and mule you some back. Checking temps up to 110. I'm going to pull these, wrap them, and put them in a cooler to keep them warm as I prepare for the reverse searing. I guess just the searing at this point. Got to move the bourbon out of the way to do this. Just wrapping them in butcher paper. Yeah, one big honking steak. Take that meter probe out of there. Two big honking steaks. Stack those bad boys up and do a really nice, clean, precise wrap on these. Yeah, tuck that in there. Crumple this. Crumple that. All right, these are perfect. That's perfect. Put it in the cooler. Done. And now we're rolling coal, boys. I think that's what they call it. You never want to see smoke like that coming out of your smoker unless you're trying to get it as hot as possible. And that's what I'm trying to do. Got a big fire here, trying to heat up that cast iron griddle I have on the firebox. That thing is freaking hot. And here I am after I cooked the first steak. I'm going to cook the second one, the nicer looking one, the one I'm going to show off here. So get that on there. Sear it up nice, fat cap, nice and seared. That's good. Yep, get all the parts of it there. That's gonna put it up on its edge. Like, it's kind of a cool shot with the smoke. We'll lay it down like that. Great. And here I am feeling pretty good at this point. Just ripping a guzzle of Deschutes Porter there for the steak. Got a real nice sear going on this. Internal temp when I took it off, I want to say wasn't much above 110, 115 at the deepest part of the tenderloin. But you'll see here as I start cutting it, that deep part of the tenderloin is quite rare.
Wow.
Rested it for about 45 minutes under foil. But here's a nice look at that. I'd call that rare. I know. If there's no number attached to it with a thermometer, there's no reason to call it anything. Here I'm slicing the strip steak side, and it looks a little more well done in this light, but I'd say it's medium rare to medium. Really good, really tasty stuff. And I forgot to mention, I'm drinking porter because these are porterhouse steaks, and they're called porterhouse steaks because at least one story in the early 1800s when porter was the most popular beer around, the porterhouses, the ale houses where porter was served, also sold these big honkin' steaks. So that's why they're called porterhouse. So one story goes, I love porter. I could talk about the history of porter forever. That's a really neat history, a really important part of the history of beer and brewing and the industrialization of brewing, actually. But anyway, put some rosemary butter on that. Look at that. Looks good. Dang. Looks so good.
It looks pretty fucking good, doesn't it?
Two different types of potatoes. Got some, there's a porter. That's the Deschutes Porter there alongside it, alongside the porterhouse. And I'm serving some of the white beans and tomato sauce, really common side in Florence. That was a shot of the white beans from Florence last year. This is my wife Jess pouring some wine too, because why not have wine with bistecca alla fiorentina. And here's another shot of the steak. That's the strip side. You can see, I don't know, medium rare, medium. It was delicious, subtle smoke flavor, but it was there. Really happy with how these turned out. Very tender, great sear. Had a nice salad too. And then here is two short Italian women cheering for a short Italian woman in Wimbledon.